Hi, my name is Stephen Rafferty. You're watching These Are Questions. This is the interview show where I ask people questions about things, life, and such not. And today we have a very special guest here in the Collab studio here in Miami. He is a successful and very talented comedian. He's a good friend of mine. Please welcome Casey Graves.
How you doing?
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a part of These Are Questions. Welcome. Before we get into the show itself, I need to explain the rules of These Are Questions. Casey, I'm going to ask you a series of questions based on your career and aspirations, along with a mixture of questions that are borderline idiotic and, well, randomly stupid. Do you accept those terms?
Yes.
Gave me a little hesitation there.
Because borderline idiotic and randomly stupid sound both the same.
Welcome to These Are Questions.
So let's do it.
Let's do it. Casey, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Internet, audience, are you ready?
I think they said yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. With that, let's begin. So thank you again for being a part of These Are Questions. I greatly appreciate it. We have a history. We've known each other for, almost 10 years now, on and off. We've worked in separate careers in arts and media and independently as comics over the years. A lot of people don't know that, but we have. I would like for you to formally introduce yourself to our audience here in These Are Questions and explain how you got into the comedy scene.
So my name is Casey Graves. I am a stand-up comedian, and I've been doing it for about a year and a couple months. And the reason why I got into the comedy scene is because I was sitting down one day with my family, and they just had, because of like when COVID hit and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going political at all. It's just the example of how I started. And like, I'm sitting at a table, half my family's yelling at what they think they know, half my other family's yelling at what they think they know. And it was just so stupid and silly. And I don't care about an opinion. Like, if you're still a good person, whatever. But I'm like, I got to make fun of this. And when I started making fun of it in front of both of them, they were like, it kind of made them forget about why they were arguing in the first place. I'm like, I'm going to do this more often. And I was like, all right, let's start writing jokes. Let's start doing this and that and whatever. And next thing you know, I didn't do anything about it for a while. And then in 2022, I hit the ground running and started getting on open mics and doing like these like New Faces shows where you bring like 5-10 people and you can do it at an improv. Yeah. And then it was like a high ever since, bro. It's like getting up on a surfboard and riding that wave, baby. Mm-hmm. You know what it is.
Absolutely. There's no other way to explain it unless you've actually done stand-up. It's exhilarating when it's done right, and when it's like going on, it's a one-of-a-kind, out-of-world experience. Like, some of the best shows are like some of the best things ever, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a rush. You can't explain it, you know? Makes no sense. It's back.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. You did it for a while.
I did. I still do it, but it's like I switched around, yeah.
You did it in high school.
Yeah.
Right? You started, was it high school or like college?
I started high school. So if you remember, on and off, like, I would be in the school that we went to, and like I would be doing like these like pseudo like poor man stand-up shows in like the cafeteria. Like, I'll be the guy on the cafeteria table doing like sets for people, if you remember.
With no mic,
just screaming out there, and then the principal's like, get
just like a lunatic.
Yeah, like a lunatic.
Okay.
I had a unique high school experience.
Everyone's just eating their meal of the day, their lunch special, and there's just like, who the is this guy screaming at me while I'm trying to focus?
It was just like the worst material on the planet. And then like I would have students come up to me, be like, hey, tell me a joke. I couldn't think of the joke halfway in. Like, some of the worst, awful stuff.
Why is that? Can I ask you, that's a very important thing that I've learned. Why can't you think of a joke on the spot?
Oh, for me, like...
Can you do that now?
I'm better at it. I'm a lot better at it. I'm good with relationships, like if we talk to whatever, but like if you tell me right now, hey, do like a set, like right now, I'll be like, I don't know. I'll give you some stuff, but it's not going to be good.
So you can't tell me right now a joke?
I mean, the joke is my life at the moment.
Tell me like a joke right off the bat if you can. Like we're at a dinner party. This is always the thing.
Yeah.
We're at a dinner party. You say you're a comedian. They want you to be the dancing monkey.
Yeah.
They want
be the funny guy.
They want
ha-ha
you
guy.
to, hey, what do you got for me, funny man? And you buckle under pressure like that? You don't.
So like when I was doing it in the beginning, definitely big time. You know, when I was growing in and stuff like that, and when I was doing shows, I'm the type where like I'm a feeder. So like if you feed with me, I'm gonna give you zingers back and forth. But if you tell me straight up, hey, do the joke, I always have a hard time. It never came fully natural for me. Always, you know.
Okay.
That's just me. That's just
fair.
me. That's me. I'm better at like improv than like straight stand up. I've always been. You know, I've always been feed back and forth. That's why I was better in acting than straight stand up. But my roots were in stand-up. I would go to local bars, local clubs, whatever, do like sets with no people, 5 people, 10 people, and then work my way.
Cool.
Yeah, so like that's my roots on that sense there. And like the best joke I have is just my life, because my life is a joke. That's all it is. It makes no sense. It's madness, you know? It's like the water bottle you have there. It's just like a mess. It's just like a mess of salt and like artificial ingredients, fake water. I don't know.
She really messed me up with that, because now these bubbles, I'm thinking all these bubbles in this freaking water are sodium, and it's pissing me off because it's looking at me.
It's staring at you, death stare, you know? Like, if you drink me, you're going to die of sodium
I
saturation.
should have just had a club soda instead of a Dasani water bottle. She's trying not to laugh.
We're going to make her laugh on this show. We're going to make everybody laugh on this show.
That's what it's all about, man.
That's cool. That's cool. I respect it. And every comic's different. Everyone has a different style, you know? And like, speaking of stand-up, I want for you to kind of go back to like your first stand-up performance you ever did, like first like open mic ever. And like, explain to me how that was for you, and explain how you've grown as a comic since then.
My first stand-up I've ever done was like I did a talent show, and I did some stupid little joke that is total. I just saw it on like a one of those inappropriate Hallmark cards, and then I said it in front of all these kids. I was like 8 years old in the Bahamas, and there was like a talent show for like the local like tourists just visiting, and then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, and Casey Graves is going to do a talent show with stand-up comedy. And I'll never forget, I was like, oh, what do you call a bulldog and a Shih Tzu combined? And it's an obvious tag. And I'm like, oh, bull. And then all these kids are like, everyone's like, who the f***? Who's letting this kid curse? And then I felt weird. I was like, this is a little weird, not my thing. And then I walked. That's like, to memory though, I did that as a little kid, and it was like weird, and I was like, I'm never touching that again. And then I did acting in LA after college.
Oh, yeah.
After I went to college, I did a bunch of acting schools like Stella Adler, and like I hit the Groundlings just to do better stuff for acting, improv acting, you know, all this type of stuff. And my buddy who does stand-up comedy now professionally in New York, he was out there too. And he's like, you got to come to the Fourth Wall. He's like, this is a place to write and do material where anything can happen. And I'm like, nah, I'll watch you. And so I sit there, and they're just saying the most ruthless.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this is nice. I was like, this is. And then all of a sudden, my buddy's like, you got to go up there. And I'm like, no. And then like the 8th or 9th, even like the 12th time, I was like, all right, fine. He's like, I signed you up. It was like some 8 Mile white rabbit or whatever the Eminem's name is. He's like, I signed you up at the battle. And I was like, no, you didn't. He's like, you got to go up.
Oh,
and then I went up, and then it worked. It worked. And I was like, this is cool. But, you know, I got some pops, but I was like, I don't think I'll ever, I'm sticking to the acting stuff. And then, I don't know. I didn't like the acting world anyway. Everyone's kind of like, it was kind of like pretentious to me. So I thought in the beginning.
Yeah, and you were LA too, so it's like that's its own kind of vibe in itself compared to like other areas, in my opinion.
I was done. I saw everyone was trying to be a clout demon and chase for a wrong motive. How do you know him, and who do I have to blow to get into this acting room? I'm like, yeah, how about you? I'm gonna make jokes. I'm gonna go home, figure out what I'm not going to do for acting, and maybe just do personal training my whole life or some Then I started, like I told you, full spin, the COVID, all that stuff hit. I'm like, I'm going to mess around and do stand-up.
There you go.
Marshall, Chandler, Mike Richard, and then you could blur them out if you don't want
No.
to put them.
Well, Mike Richard was my first episode here, so like that's fine. Mike ESP.
And Scott and my buddy Scott, all them living together, they got me doing a lot. Like they pushed me into like finding open mics and stuff like that. So if I didn't have a good team like those guys, I wouldn't have got up and got out and done something.
Yeah, and you've been killing it in the short time you've been as a comic, and like knowing you over the years, you've always been a funny guy. So it's just like the natural translation has really gone well for you. You've been killing it, and like we have similar stories about how we started there. Because for quick context for me, my first ever stand-up show was at a carnival, and I was a last-minute replacement for a parody rock band that No Call No Showed. I didn't have any stand-up, I didn't have any jokes, anything like that. I was doing the YouTubing stuff. If you remember that way back in the day. I was doing the little crappy YouTube videos about skits or whatever, and because I like media. And the guy's like, we need someone to do like a 5-minute set. Can you do it? And it's from like 15, 20 people. And I wrote everything on like a napkin on a plate. And I'm like, here's my set. Here we go.
Dude.
And it is fun. And I was telling Brittany Brave, season 5, episode 1.
You got Brittany on here?
Yeah. She's in last season. Shout out to her. Shout out to her special. She did a great job on that, on Dana Improv.
At Daniel, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Shout out to her. She was wonderful. But I told her that story, and she's just like, yep, that's the norm. That's like the norm for starting. It's all these weird shows.
You do a good Brittany Brave, by the way. You do a good impersonation.
I do. Oh, hello. Hi.
Now you don't.
Hi. Okay.
You just upstaged, but...
She'll be the judge of that when I send her the clip, and she'll be like, why the are you talking about me on this episode?
Keep my name out your mouth. I'm on a show with her tonight at this place called Red Light.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
It's in West Palm. It's a nice room. It's next to a strip club.
Okay.
And it's a strip club lounge. Like it's strippers, right? And then you just go to the lounge, and the lounge is like a little speakeasy, and not like a rub and tug, but like it's like a nice little where you get whiskey and you talk about whatever. It's go there to know where I'm talking about. And they got on stage. They got my girl Abby Ballin. Shout out to Abby Ballin. She runs this place, and it's like really nice.
Yeah.
Like it's so, it's got a burlesque 1920s hide the alcohol vibe.
Okay, like speakeasy. Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, like speakeasy, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we're doing a show out there tonight. It's really nice.
Oh, nice.
And Red Light, if you guys want to go, go
to it. I don't know when this episode's going to come out, but yeah, go to it.
This is going to get released a month later, and I'm talking about nothing.
But it's fine. You still go to it. I don't know. Do it. You do you. It's your life. I can't tell you what to do.
So back to the carnival.
Yes. So like, yeah.
Tell me about this.
Oh, you can find it on YouTube. I bombed royally. My key joke was about Lindsay Lohan, and I was saying that I'm multi-race. So I was like, Irish, Scottish, Haitian, Dominican.
You were just other on the applicant box.
Yeah, absolutely, all the time. I fill parts of it on the like SAT box, whatever, and be like, part black here, part black white,
okay,
whatever. So the joke was that, and I said, well, all those races combined is still not as messed up as Lindsay Lohan. That was my like big joke, and it got like ah ha ha, and I was like, oh my god, I'm a comedian now. And it kind of went from there. And then I did stand up here and there, moved around, but then I moved behind the scenes as an editor, producer, and worked on the TV side. And then I go on and off, through shows, whether it be in stand up, whether it be spoken word, acting, or doing live shows for these questions. So in it, but also not in it at the same time.
Wow.
My life makes no sense. Things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's manic. Insanity. Nice. And then speaking of insanity, to move on forward, let me ask you this question. Have you ever heard of the 2004 TV sports show called Slam Ball? No? Okay. I'll explain it. It's people who play a basketball game, but there's trampolines in it. So they jump on the trampolines, and they shoot these like slam dunks, and they call it Slam Balls. It had 2 seasons. Didn't last long because like half the players got like seriously injured, got like royally screwed up, but it's famous for it because people just wipe out on the screens, wipe out on the glass, everything like that. It's a mess.
2004?
2004, yeah.
Okay.
They had it for 1 season, then they brought it over, like a revision of it, for like 2008, 2009, and then it died. That was it. Too many lawsuits, too many issues.
So what's your obsession with this question in the show?
I just wanted to ask you that, if you heard about it.
Oh, this was the random part.
That's a random question, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You probably got like a folder's worth of
I have a book of like stupid questions.
Oh,
that's what I think
wow.
about at night.
Why don't
that's
you sell it?
That's my stand-up of that.
Why don't you sell a book of random questions? People love absurdities. Why don't you do something like that?
Oh, give me an idea. Okay, fourth book right there.
Slam ball.
Yeah.
So
You should look it up. You might be good at it.
Well, they're not doing it though.
We could get a trampoline.
You want to run it back?
Yeah, run it back. Yeah.
Make it the most epic spike ball game we can ever.
Maybe Spike Ball got that from Slam Ball. I don't know. You never know. Could be influenced. Yeah.
Do you like, a lot of people now, they do like pickleball, spike ball. You with that?
I've only played it like once. I'm not good at it. Maybe I'll play it again in the future, but it looks cool. I mean, people play it like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got no time, so they got things to do, I guess. They spike
Yeah,
balls.
it's a void filler, I think.
Yeah. Do it for like 6 hours, and then like time just stops while you're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's cool. I mean, it's cool if people are good at it. Doesn't lead to my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Would you ever, or have you ever ran with the Bulls? Ran with the Bulls. Ever done that?
Yes.
Oh, actually, really? Okay, do tell. I need to know this now.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. Seriously, I didn't know that. So you did do this?
Yeah, last year.
Oh,
I ran
really?
twice, back-to-back
Twice?
days.
How was that?
Oh, dude, I've never pushed more women and children out of my way just to save my own life and realize what the was I doing. It's kind of up. The way their tradition is set up in Spain is that you get 7 bulls or 6 bulls, and they're huge. They're demon-like. And then all of a sudden, to make things worse, they keep these bulls, they age them like abusive wine. They keep them in a dark place. They keep them in a tight confinement area where the is pushed back to them, and they're in their own piss and filth, and they got rashes on their asses and testicles, and I'm getting gruesome with it because I had to learn about what they're doing to get these bulls so anxious. So after a while, like, you ever seen a rabid homeless man walk the streets and then, what the fuck are you? What the? Like those nut jobs?
Yeah, it's right down on South Beach. Yeah,
so
right down
that's what they kind of like, because they don't shower. They're kind of like in this whole like weird funk in their life, the real Shutter Island.
Yeah.
These bulls are on that mode, and they go, and once they get out of the light, after they've kept them in solitary confinement in the hole for X amount of, they're ready to kill the first person or thing that they see. They're ready to go at it. So all of a sudden, you got a whole narrow pathway that goes through Spain all the way in Pamplona, all the way down to Death's Corner. And Death's Corner is where they've been charging straight for maybe 5 minutes. They're not thinking anything of it. It's just like how cows run off a cliff. They don't know. They're just following the herd.
Yeah.
So there's a hard right you got to turn. And these the locals, or mostly the Australian frickin' Dudesen kind of people, they just like, they're like, a lot of Australians go. I ran into a lot of them. They're very, these people are savages, but they stay at Death's Corner in order to see if they can dodge the bull from making that turn and to not get hit. And then all of a sudden, the hard right, you just hear them boom, boom, 6 of these bulls hitting the Death's Corner, one after another. And me and my buddy stayed right on Death's Corner to watch them pile up, so they slow down in order for us to run with them enough. So like, think about it. It's a hard stop. They got to gain speed again. So we're running with them while they're picking up their momentum. And then you got to know when the time is right to hide in one of those little like alleyways and whatever. But like, dude, I'm not even kidding you, bro. Like, the guy that was warning us about it, the hostel we were staying at, he's like, listen, you got the traditional handkerchief, scarf, and you got the white on, and there's like pants you wear that have threads. He's like, tie it this way, tie it this way, tie it this way, and wear this. Because if you don't tie the scarf in a slip knot, people will because of just fight or flight, will see that while you're running with them, yank it and pull you down, and then you get stepped on by 6 different bulls with 4 different sets of feet, and you can get killed.
Yeah. People die like crazy.
And so, like I said, it's a joke, but I was like, there was like a woman in my way, and I was like, holy fuck. What am I going to be politically correct? I shoved her. I like shoved her out of the way. Some kid, I jumped over him, and then all of a sudden, like I'm like, they're already dead. In my mind, I'm like, what do you call it? That Tomb Runner game.
Runes.
Run it.
Oh God, not RuneScape. I don't know why I said RuneScape. God, what's that name?
It's bothering you. And I don't give a who hears it. It's just what it is when you're down there. But it's Tomb Runner.
Tomb Runner. That's right.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, these motherfuckers are dead behind me. I don't care. I'm just Indiana Jones, and there's a giant boulder, and that's all that's happening. And so you run until you can't anymore. It's like running with or from the bulls. You just choose your option of life. And then all of a sudden, they run them all into the Coliseum. And they're just, hola, Belly, hola, all that bull. Yeah. And there's like, everybody's there. My buddy saw a bunch of NFL players there. They're like, people just go there to have fun. And all of a sudden, they take all the 6 bulls and put them in the dark, lock them up again. I mean, it's whatever. It's their thing. I'm not going to sit there and like protest against this. But, they lock them back in there, and then they send a couple of average-sized bulls, and they don't tell you when, out there that are even more angry, and they just start picking people off in the Coliseum. And it's just so cool to watch and be in front of. Like, I was playing a game of chicken with this guy, me and this dude from Spain, and all of a sudden, like, it locked eyes with me, and it starts coming at me. And these horns they're sharp, but they keep some of them, they keep the what do you call it, like the wax balls on their horns, so they don't spear you to death.
Yeah.
But some of them they don't. And one kid, out of all the time we were there in Spain, one kid got gored, meaning pierced through, horn into his shin bone, through the calf meat.
Oh my goodness.
And he was from Sunrise, Florida.
Oh, from here.
Out of all the frickin' people that went to Pamplona, Spain to run with the bulls, it was a Florida guy. It was like...
Florida man.
And then they go on the news and they tell us about it because we're watching it in our hotel, and they act like they're so embarrassed about like their traditional culture they do every year. They're like, one guy got gored and it was just so terrible. In other news, I was like, all right.
Okay, there you go. Oh man, Florida's...
Long-winded, sorry about that.
No, that's interesting. I legitimately did not know you did that. That is an insane experience, and man, I was not expecting that today on These Are Questions, so I'm glad you're alive.
Go if you can.
I'm not, but I'm glad that you would, I guess. Good for you.
It's a good time.
It's a good time. That's their slogan. It's a good time. My next question I want to ask is a question I'm asking for every guest here on These Are Questions Season 6, sure. and it's a team-based question. I just want to ask you, choose a team. Team Alpha or Team Omega?
That's very open. Mm-hmm. I'll do team. Well, I'll do Team Alpha only because Omega to me thinks God status.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm a. You like that one?
I said that.
Okay.
Yeah, she did.
That's a good ass question.
Thank you.
Team Alpha, because that's like anybody could go anywhere with that, and it tests a lot of people.
Yeah,
based off taking the red pill or the blue pill.
It is.
And I don't think that I'm above any higher power. I don't think I'm here to serve on this earth. I do believe in God. I do believe in, I mean, I went to CCD. We went to a Catholic school.
Yeah, we did at one point. Yeah.
I got touched several times. But besides that, I'm still with the religion.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it was whatever. I let them. I was down to diddle. I don't give a shit. No, I didn't. But I think Alpha, not Omega, because I think, well, I do believe that there's like, I'm not above. I'm not. You ever seen people when they get Omega status, when they think their God complex is like the say all, do all, like I've peaked. Everyone needs to lick my shit. I'm the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah,
Look at like Conor McGregor when he started getting crazy with his power. Mayweather even, like, you see that some of the God complex in people, and that to me is Omega, which you will fall, which you will like, because there's always going to be someone higher up than you, and you know, I stay alpha because I'm a servant on this world. I'm designed to do one main mission and do what I, enjoy the life that the Omega has offered. That's kind of a Chris Pratt answer, I bet. But
it is, but that's a unique perspective of that question, though. That's a unique take on it. I wouldn't think about it in that perspective, but that's a good
even if I'm wrong and I die and like the Indian god, like Vishnu or something like that, if I come back as a frog, I'll be like, I still went alpha. I'm all right.
Alpha frog.
Yeah. Alpha Toad.
Alpha Toad. Yeah.
It's a good comic book.
That's a good comic book. You should write it down right now, man. That could be your segue.
You got to record it.
You got to record it even better. So write it down. I'm going to forget anyway, and it's me.
Alpha's my answer. What is your answer?
I can't tell you that because I'm saving that for the end of the season. So remember that for the end.
Boo.
I got to save it.
Boo. 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 Boo.
Call me an on my own show. Get out of here.
That's because we're backed by 10 years. So I was like, am I going to? Yeah. And then
That's fair. I haven't seen you in a minute. I know. Welcome to These Are Boos. It's the booing show for you.
Welcome to the Boo Special, folks.
The Boo Special.
This ain't Halloween, but we're booing.
We're booing. Oh, I like that tagline. Let me ask you, can you build me a rocket ship?
No.
Why not?
Well, I mean, you want like one of those little 6th grade science project rocket ships that you could buy at Home Depot?
Sure.
Then yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You want some Elon Musk put it in a Tesla and get to Mars? You got the wrong guy.
Okay, good to know. I'm glad for that clarification there.
Build me a rocket ship.
Yeah, can you build me a rocket ship? I got you laughing.
Yeah, it's in my white van. Yeah. Come here. Let me...
I'll rock it to your ship.
All right now.
There you go.
Hey now.
Oh God. Well, continuing on with the crude humor here. Let me ask you this. Do you think that comics use crude humor more often as a cop-out for not refining their material? Let me ask you that.
Depends.
Okay.
Because if that's their MO, some people can't help but being crude because they come from a up background.
That's true.
Like look at Bill Burr's stuff.
Yeah.
Bill Burr has like an abusive... He has an abusive history of who he was. He puts it in his cartoon show. He talks about it on stage. And to tell me that that's a cop-out, I say no, sir.
No, I don't think so.
But if you're looking at like a guy that or girl or, that just doesn't want to do material, sure, there's people like that. But if you're a good comic, I think you should know the difference between two. You know what I mean? And I'm just saying this in the general eye of looking at somebody doing dick jokes and pussy jokes and that stuff to get like the ha ha ha. That's what here's the dumb part about that. Sometimes audience members don't want to hear that at all, mainly because they're either smarter or they're eating or something. And then sometimes I've seen people just like, yeah, like the poop joke. And but here's the part about being a comic is like, if you're knowing what makes them laugh and that's not your craft, I mean, you're gonna shift the narrative towards that. I mean, maybe put your own spin on it, but if you go poop joke and it pops, then you go joke, then it pops even harder. Then you go diarrhea jokes and they give you a standing ovation. And then people are like, you crushed. And you're like, technically, I hated that, but I had to sell myself to do that to please the audience. That's just how I see it.
That's fair.
So it's a double-edged sword on that kind of answer.
And I absolutely agree. And for my stand-up humor, when I do stand-up, I try to be on the less crude side. I try to be like PG-13 because that's just me. I like to be on the smart kind of comic a little bit, but there's no, whatever. I always say if you're going to use swears or use a explicit theme, there should be a point and place to use it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be doing every 2 seconds like a dick joke or whatever joke, whatever. There's got to be a rhyme and reason, in my opinion. But like you said, sometimes that works in certain sets, and it's you just got to use it, and then you got to get your gig, whatever.
A rhyme and reason for the poop jokes.
Oh yeah, there should be. There should be. It's very important. Got to have that rhyme and reason.
Have you ever did stand up?
I'm a sit down comic too.
You get a bar stool like Dave Chappelle and rip a jewel. Is that your thing?
No.
Is that the Raff way?
That is not the Raff way. No, my way is very manic and running all over the place.
I like when Chappelle does that.
I like in that sense because it kind of calms everything down, and you're like really focused on
He
what's
looks.
going to go.
What's that statue where he's always thinking? What's that?
I think it's called The Thinking Man, isn't it?
The thinking man.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle is the ultimate thinking man of comedy. Like he'll sit there and he'll just pull something out of that vape pot he's ripping and then just like go off on it. And then he'll stand up when he's passionate about it enough. And then he just takes the reins, and he can just do that because he's got an omega following. He's got a, you know, he's got a crazy, he's the alpha of doing his thing. Well, he's found his own way. Back to what the are we talking about? Oh, poop jokes.
Poop jokes.
So have you ever sat there in like the crowd of things and felt out like you didn't like to say, and they're like, yeah, like maybe you did one thing and you're like, damn it, now I got to keep going on that.
Yes, actually, I've done that a couple times. I think the most recent one was like I was at the Riverside, and I was doing a joke for the segment was called the History of Birthdays, and the premise of it was like going over all the screwed up historical facts of like how certain countries celebrate their birthdays. Like
I've seen that.
Yeah. I've done a bit with it. I've done
YouTube.
it a couple times, right? Refining whatever. And like I don't remember what I said, to be honest, but I was going through my tangent, and like the bit was about like the Egyptians or something, and I said it wrong. But they got a kick out of it, so I had to continue on with it. And it led to like COVID jokes, which I didn't mind talking about it, but I was like, that's not what I wanted. But like the audience liked it, so I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It led from that to COVID to like a Holocaust joke, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to...
They are all related.
No, they're not. They're not, Casey. They're very different. Rhyme and reason. Reason and rhymes for...
They're all in the same boat.
The same messed up boat,
Yeah.
Same infected boat. You're an infected boat.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm an infectious boat of laughter and love and feelings. You want to hear something crazy? I kind of left acting when they were trying to get me to do method acting.
Okay.
I had a teacher that she was getting people to cry, and she was talking about, you know, like the whole history, like the science behind how actors can cry and
Yeah.
So the trauma is what you got to think of, the most up that happened to you or close to you or something you've witnessed, right? And just like let it go, and eventually you'll stay in that character, and then just once you leave it, you have to leave it like you're landing a plane instead of hitting the emergency brake in your car, because that can you up. Mm-hmm. Like look at like Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. After he did the Joker. You see him give that Oscar speech. I know it's a while ago, but dude, it's almost like he wasn't the same. And my acting teacher made me do like method acting. And she's like, you guys, our assignment today, we would always get method acting assignments. And one of the assignments was, you guys have to do, you guys are going to be homeless. You guys are going to act like homeless people. And we're like, okay, act. And she goes, do you guys know the first thing it takes to act like being homeless people? And they're like, you know, like kind of like isolation. You know, you think like skipping a couple meals, wearing the same clothes. She goes, in order to act like homeless people, you will become homeless people. And so for 4 days, we had to find a safe place to sleep outside of our apartment. We had to find out how we can either beg or trash dive for food. Yeah. And then like we have to, and then like we'd have to like write down these experiences. And then we had to come back to class every day for 4 whole days, smelling like dog and piss.
Oh my goodness!
Hair. All girls had leaves in their hairs. Guys had bags under their eyes, cracked out. Just absolutely. And this whole time, I was sleeping in my apartment. I'm like, this shit, I'm not doing that. So people started figuring out that I was doing that, and they started living with me.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I was like I was harvesting the Jews like during the war. I was like, guys, come live with me. I had like 10 people stay in my apartment. And they're like, please. And all of a sudden, like day 2, they couldn't take it. A lot of my friends in the acting school. So they were like taking a shower and you would hear them from the shower like, oh my God. Oh, and I was like, dude, this is, and I failed. There was a rat. So they were like, Casey's harvesting all of us. And I was like, geez, looks like I'm going to the camps.
Oh, jeez.
You're like Inglorious Bastards when he's hiding them under the wood.
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
Yeah, in that moment, I could feel that.
And then we had one guy just leak it for us.
Oh man, why? Why? What's the point?
And he came to my house and showered.
Oh, that's even worse.
So
he's a backstabber right off the bat.
Oh, utilized everything, but snitched on all of us because he couldn't take the pressure. Thought he would get a reduced sentence in our acting school. I failed. Yeah.
But you won in comedy.
I won in comedy because that material.
That is material right there.
Dude, how many people you know can do that?
Not many at all. Man.
Like the story I'm talking.
That story off the cuff like that, very few. That's the art of it right there.
No, just like I meant like this, like the situation at hand is so comedic.
Oh yeah, like it's like you can't make that up one bit. You can't. Like those are the best comics, the ones that have like those experiences where you just can't make that stuff up. So it naturally comes out when you're explaining it to people because it's so out of the ordinary, so extreme.
We had one assignment that the same teacher.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she didn't get like arrested for all this. Like it was brutal. But like the stuff she had, a light version of that was like, she's like, okay guys, like we watched the movie Ray. Oh
yeah.
With Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx. Yeah.
One of my favorite movies actually.
It's a good movie.
I f with Jamie Foxx so hard, and he is such a like down to earth person. But the crazy thing is, this movie, she's like, okay, you see how he was blind, you know, what took Jamie Foxx to get to that. And we're all trying to figure out his anecdote, his secret, you know, juice to what made him that. And she's like, well, for us class today, we were going to learn how to be blind. And I'm like, okay, what the f is gonna happen here? So she said for the next 4 to 6 days in your apartment, to play it safe, you're going to 2 things. In your apartment, you're going to close your eyes, and if you can't trust yourself, blindfold yourself to shower, sleep, find little, like, do what a blind person does.
Yeah.
You have to blindfold yourself. And then to make things weird, you had to blindfold yourself when you ate out in public. So people could stare at you. You can hear different things.
Okay.
Also, to hear how blind people see with their hearing, it's kind of trippy. I did this, and then I felt weird because I was
sure
I had
after
like,
that. But that I like that as an experience from an acting perspective, because that's like, okay, this is like good. I don't know, not material, but like this is good. This is good actual practice in a way, sort of.
Yeah, bro. Seeing the things that you can hear is
a whole different MO.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because you pay more attention because that's all you have. Yep. We're multitasking, and if we're tritasking of talking, seeing, and hearing at the same time, you can't focus on one thing in the entire overall. So if you're on your phone and you're texting and driving, which everybody does, I'm just saying it. We're all, even cops, everybody's texting and driving. Have you ever been like, damn, I'm already home? That's scary.
That is scary. There's a phenomenon. I don't know the name of it, but there's you can Wikipedia this, and there's like a phenomenon where like you're driving and like you're like in a void, and as you're driving, like you're already home. Like there's a brain like function in your, I guess, cerebral cortex. Don't quote me on this, but like
this is where Instagram gets like that. This is not actually a factual
thing. Here's Wikipedia to prove it. Here's the proof right there. But there is a phenomenon on that. There's a science behind that. It's pretty interesting. I wish I had the name of it.
So it teaches you a lot about patience too.
Yeah.
Like you can't force yourself to see if you're a blind man, and maybe some people are gonna get upset that I'm speaking on this, but it's like, dude, I'm like, more so I appreciate the fact that it's like you can actually do mentally a lot more just hearing things, putting it into a visual in your mind, because that's all you have. And to me, that was like a great experience. I was like, I stopped doing it. I was like, this is I tripped in the bathtub when I closed the light. She's like, close the light and blind yourself and take a shower. I'm like, bet. I almost chipped my tooth on the bar of soap handle.
That's
So I was like, I'm done being blind for today.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Almost breaking your neck there. Jeez.
So
for the acting, for the performance.
Where was that question? How far did we go off in that question?
We went pretty far off, but that's okay.
Let's swim back to shore.
That's how these are questions kind of goes. It goes into tangents at times, so it's no worries. It's all good. It's all for the humor and the authenticity. Yeah, authenticity.
I think authentic was right.
Yeah, definitely. I got 2 final questions to ask you, and these are questions.
Shoot your shot.
The question I want to ask is, what's a great piece of advice for someone that's trying to break into comedy? Besides, don't do it.
No, I wouldn't. Nah, I don't like that.
Okay.
I don't like when people do that. I don't like when people say don't do it because it's like you did it.
Yeah, that's my cop-out joke.
You're a hypocrite, and if anything, I mean, you weed out the competition. My advice to someone who's trying to do comedy now, it's like the Morgan Freeman logic of like you can start at any age and it doesn't matter. You know, give them time to cook. But there's sacrifices, and that's probably like open-ended because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's sacrifices in anything. You could be a chef and you can't see your family because now you're traveling on a yacht and they call it below deck. I don't know. That you can sacrifice. You got to sacrifice a lot of things. You got to be willing to do what it takes. That's just it. That's the most general thing that I've experienced because that can mean multiple things. Where if you're starting in comedy, you have to be willing to know what it's like to be rejected, bomb on all parameters of a joke, a night, whatever. You got to be willing to get the hell up out of bed and write. You got to be, if you're working a job while you're working this, if you pay attention to your job and you put your job as a primary and a comedy as a temporary, but you're trying to do comedy, doesn't that write itself off in saying that you're not in this full time? You got to be willing to sacrifice like your lunch break to write for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours during your job. And then you got to be open to like, know that you're going to lose a lot of friends and family and a lot of time. And I mean, I've seen guys now that just like they're doing comedy when they're 58 and they don't have a kid and they don't have a wife and they're just like, they're kind of like, but they're not, and I don't respect some of them because they're not doing that full time. So it's like, yeah, I do this, I'm trying to do it, but they only hit 2 mics, 3 mics a night, a week.
Yeah.
So it's almost, I can't feel bad for that person because the numbers aren't there.
Yeah, the reps are not there.
It's the numbers of like the how bad do you want it scale is off the Richter on you not giving. And you're supposed to make somebody feel sorry, but the advice for someone doing comedy is just show up, do the work, be open to rejection and open to suggestion, and don't listen to everybody. I mean, hypothetically, don't even listen to me. You don't have to listen to a thing that I say because eventually you're just going to do what you want to do.
Right.
But just floor it, man. I mean, don't like once you start doing this, everything's starting to, it manifests into, it navigates into everything I do now is kind of like a joke. I'm thinking of
yeah,
you know,
it's all connected.
So just don't give up. Keep pressing to it. Keep hitting. Make it a like eat, sleep, breathe, comedy, repeat.
Good advice. That's really good advice there. And especially the reps. And as someone who started in stand-up, I call it, but I wouldn't call myself a full-time comedian because I've gone on and off. And I don't want to consider that there as much as I love comedy. Don't get me wrong. But if you're going to be a full-time comic and you're going to be somebody that's doing this, you got to make your reps and do shows like constantly, nonstop. If you're not doing that, sorry, man. Like, if you think you're going to be on the big stages, like, you're going to be SOL. Like, they
like the idea of being a comedy.
The idea of being a comedian, but not actually being one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Definitely. So good stuff there. Good stuff. Last question I want to ask you, and these are questions, and this has been a very interesting, off-the-walls, wacky interview, and that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying. Is there one societal norm or feeling that you would like to change? If there is one, what would it be and why?
Oh, man.
It's a loaded question. Kinda.
I'll give you one answer.
Okay.
Either it's all okay or none of it is. Don't cherry pick. Don't say he said she. Everybody acts like they're 6 years old and tattling to the teacher. And the teachers, the government, the teachers, whoever you want to put that. But it's all okay or none of it is. And that's how I've learned to do comedy, where I've seen comedians say, hey, I like that racist bit, but not that racist bit. And it's like, what did you just say right now? You just said, you chose. But so that's just an example of many things to that phrase where it's like, bro, you gotta respect somebody's view. Remember how we were just arguing about water and ice in the beginning of this?
If it was filmed, then yes.
And I took where she came from, where he came from, and it was not like I was saying, well, I was showing you that we're both different, but here's technically what happened, this would happen. You can't, at the end of the day, it's I don't know where I was going with that, but it's like that's how conversations can be, but then they can pick up to be like a little more ridiculous based off of a personal opinion and it's like no one's right, no one's got the answers. We're just do you.
Yep.
Do you, but also keep in mind that it's all okay or none of it's not like you can do this, but oh, God forbid, if someone I like does this, I can't. I don't know what the I'm saying. I'm just rambling like an idiot, but because I've just seen so much hypocritical bull throughout life, as before, after the pandemic.
Pandemic.
So I just said that hopefully so it doesn't pick up like he said, and then your whole.
Yeah, but you already said it in the first 2 minutes of the episode.
Bleep it. I don't.
I'll just bleep it. I'm gonna have so many bleeps.
Mid.
Okay. It's gonna be so many blanks.
I don't know, man. Like I do me. I mind my own business. But if someone steps into, my backyard and tell me, hey, my grass is too high, I'm like, go back over your side of the fence, Bill. Mind, come on, buddy. I'm not doing this to you. Do your thing.
There you go. I'll leave it off that with doing your thing.
Do your thing.
Do your thing, man. All right. Well, Casey, it's been a pleasure interviewing you on These Are Questions. I really do appreciate you being a part of the show and being a part of this episode. And for those that are watching and listening, whether it be on YouTube.com or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're getting the episode, we appreciate you. So thank you so much. And with that, all I have to say is that you have been watching / listening to These Are Questions. Good night, everyone. Take it easy. Or don't. I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do your thing.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.